In 2017, an unknown artist named Dua Lipa came on the scene and delivered one of the biggest songs of the year. Her debut album was streamed 7 million stream times and won her 2 Grammys. This year, in the middle of a pandemic, she bravely decided to release her second album, Future Nostalgia, which last week earned her 6 Grammy nominations. Dua Lipa joining us now from London. Dua, thank you for coming on. How you holding up? How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm well. I've been forced to, as many of us, understand some technology that I wasn't so familiar with since last spring. And I'm curious, since I've known you, you've always been on the go. And now your world stops for a moment. What sort of, what plays on you? What happens to an artist when they're not on the move?
Honestly, I feel like I've learned so much about patience and just taking a step back and learning how to work all the techie stuff and building green screens and trying to think outside the box and trying to think of ways to still get people all together, even when we're so far away. I think that's kind of the most important thing. I think that's something that maybe I think has been really holding people together, is that sense of community and so much support that has been shown between people. That's been really nice. So,
I've heard from some artists. I've heard from some artists that have said, "Oh, I don't want to put out up-tempo music now or in these times." And I know you have said, "No, we need that feeling. We need that energy." Talk a little bit about that decision.
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't scary to put a record out to begin with, especially when the pandemic started and there was so much uncertainty. But I also felt like I wrote this album and I made this album to serve as a form of escapism. And when it came to kind of deciding whether I should or whether I shouldn't put it out, I was like, well, the reason I made it was to kind of get away from any outside pressures or whatever was going on in the world. So I was like, maybe now is the time to put this out. And I am really, really grateful, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't have wanted to have kept the record and saved it for another time. I'm so happy that it came out, and just the response from people and people's reaction has been so rewarding that I'm over the moon about it.
And speaking of those people, how have you used technology lately to stay in touch with your fans and to keep that rapport with them?
I've done lots of stuff like going online and doing like Instagram lives and talking directly to people. And that sometimes can be quite daunting because first of all, when you're talking directly to a screen and there's no one really responding and you're just all on your own, kind of just talking and trying to figure out, how to explain things. I did feel like that really brought me closer to my listeners. I had the opportunity to sit down and talk about every single song on the record and why I wrote it and what that meant to me and where that came from and where the inspiration came from. And I don't get to do that very often. And so for that, I was really grateful. And that was something that I think was quite important, especially early on. I do feel like that every time I go on Insta Live or something, I'm either like bursting into tears or celebrating something or forgetting my words or not knowing what to say. So it's a pick and mix. You have no idea what you're going to get with one of my Insta Lives, but they end up being quite fun. So
I'm thinking about you, me, Miley Cyrus. We just talked not too long ago about your single Prisoner. She was in LA, you're in London, I was in New York, yet it seemed like we were all together. And I think that we can stay so connected in these times by systems like this. Did you actually record it in different places at different times?
No, so I did my main, I did 4 months of lockdown in London. And then then things started opening up a bit and I was able to come to the States. And so Miley and I actually did end up getting to
in person
and recording this song together. So, yeah.
But so many times there are artists, maybe you can speak to this, that they're not in the same place. They are listening to track, singing to track, right?
Yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. And especially now, it's kind of also the really good thing about music is all these unexpected collaborations are happening, but it tends to be from people all over the world. And so it's kind of impossible, especially with people's schedules, to like try and get people together, but you still want to make art and you still want to put it out. And that's also so exciting, not only for you as the artist, but also for your listeners and being able to just like put different things out. And so it's a rare luxury to be able to be in the same room together, but it's amazing.
Not too long ago, you did a big streaming performance. It was a performance you had told me that you were working on choreography for a long time. Tell me about putting that together and how different or similar it was to something you might normally do.
Just before the pandemic started, I was about 1 week away from starting tour rehearsals. And so I had gotten my whole team, my band, everyone together, and we were about to go into rehearsals, and then lockdown happened in the UK and nothing was able to happen. I had to postpone my tour. And I had all these ambitions of, wanting to mature as an artist, wanting to grow as a performer, wanting to get better at, being better at being on stage, and understanding my body better and how I move and all those things. And I think this time I really had the opportunity to be able to hone in on those things, get the rehearsal time that I need in order to feel like I can be really good at my job. I feel like on my first record, there were so many instances where I would have to be on a TV show or a TV performance, and I would have 30 minutes before I went on stage to just try and mark exactly where I had to stand to do what I needed to do to perform the song, because I was back to back with touring, performances, promo, interviews, photo shoots, anything. And I was like, okay, this record, I want to do things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because I love to work, so I'm always just yes, let's do it. And I think what I've realized, although I'm still yes, I'm down, let's do it, I want to work, I want to, get all this stuff done. I also realized how much time I need to be able to dedicate to myself in order to be good at these things and not just do them for the sake of doing them, but when I do them, for them to be really good.
Preparation, because at first you're so things are so happening so fast, and it's so great that you're sprinting, and then you realize there is preparation time that has to be calculated.
Absolutely. And for something like this, for this live stream that I'm doing, I don't think people have ever seen me do anything like this, and for that I'm really excited. I think the whole process has been quite surprising and exciting and intriguing for me, and I'd be interested to know what other people think. So,
well, the people will speak. They will. The people are candid. The people will speak. The beauty of our generation. Your generation, I should say. I'm so happy to have gotten to know you over the last few years and know your music, and what you're doing for the world of popular music is something that we all love and we need. And so keep it up, Dua.
Thank you so much.